Hello and welcome to Cageside London. This is your UFC 303 predictions, and it is coming to us live tomorrow on Sunday, the June the 30th. We are just over 24 hours away, or should I say under 24 hours away, and it's Sunday, the June 30th for everyone in the UK, and then the June the 29th for everyone in the US. It is International Fight Week, one of the biggest fight weeks in company wide in the calendar, and it is a good pay-per-view to say the least. I mean, considering the fallout that we've had from the Conor McGregor Michael Chandler fight, I did actually do a poll a few weeks back, and a lot of people said, it is technically a bad card in this sense. They'd rather actually have the fights that were planned to happen, but then also a lot of other people said that they actually feel that they didn't really care. A lot of us UFC fans just want to see the fights. Good fights, good matchmaking, and to be fair, with what has happened as of late, they haven't done too bad in that. So we're just going to be running down the official UFC 303 card. And giving my predictions on this. So, without further ado, I just want to highlight actually on the early prelims, we do actually have some legends or some veterans in the sport. We've got Andrei Arlovski fighting against Martin Buday. And so I personally think that, I really want Andrei Arlovski to win. I've been a fan of the sport for many years, and even though he is the underdog on this at a plus 220 on the odds, I feel like I want him to get the win. So you've got the US guy against the Slovakian there. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight that as that. The featured prelim on the earlies is Michelle Waterson-Gomez against Gillian Robertson. We have here the underdog being Michelle Waterson-Gomez. And then we've got Gillian Robertson as the favourite here from Canada. Ranked number 14 against ranked number 15. She's coming for that one spot up. So in terms of Gillian Robertson, we'll soon see whether she can get it done. Personally, I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with Michelle on this one. And then we get to the prelim card. So this is not the early prelims. This is actually the prelims itself. Our featured... Well, sorry, not our featured bout. I'm going to go to Cub Swanson versus Andre Fili. Two good fighters in their own right. Cub Swanson's been about for a while. Andre Fili as well. We have here Andre Fili as the favourite, and I feel like that is potentially the right call. Andre Fili wants to make a statement, wants to get up in them ranks within the featherweight division, and hopefully can do that and make a statement against Cub Swanson. But make no doubt about it that Cub Swanson is not an easy test, so we'll soon see what happens there. And then in the feature prelim, we have Joe Pyfer versus Marc-André Barriault, and we have Marc-André Barriault here as the underdog. But Joe Pyfer is the favourite in this, but I'm going to go for the underdog in this one. I'm going to continue on with my underdog strategy from the early prelims, which will be Marc-André Barriault. So that from there we get from our featured prelim bout, we go to the main card, and in my opinion, a very stacked main card. Now, I've said in previous videos that this starter for the main card should be on the UFC Manchester card, the UFC 304 card, but here we are, UFC 303. It's none other than Ian Machado Garry versus Michael Venom Page, and these two guys are just top tier in what they do. Michael Page obviously coming from Bellator, making big statements, and he also made a big statement against Kevin Holland. He is looking to continue that against Ian Garry, and personally, I want him to get it done. I'm London through and through, so Michael Page for me, hometown guy, want him to get the job done. A lot of people thought that he wasn't actually good enough to be in the UFC, or there was actually question marks around him a few years back, and everyone was like, "Oh, is he going to come to the UFC?" Then he had that loss against Paul Daly and stuff like that, and people just wrote him off. But he seems to be making statements, and hopefully he continues on that run. Me personally, I'm gonna go with Michael Venom Page. We don't have the odds for this. I haven't got the live odds, but they haven't been shown on the actual UFC page. But I would say Ian Garry being a favourite here, but I would assume Michael Page being an underdog, unless they're gonna say, he's expected to win. But I mean, there's big hype for Ian Garry at the minute, and Michael Venom Page also wants to derail. He's hype train. It's very hype train versus hype train here, but I just feel like he could be a bit too fast, Michael Page, for Ian Garry, and yeah, definitely MVP to get the win on this one. I want MVP to, if he can, make a shot for that title against Leon, in that welterweight. Oh no, sorry, in the other division, because this actually being contested at welterweight. I understand that they've changed the weight for this bout, but yeah, I mean, if he continues in the same division as Leon Edwards, then we could see a UK fight versus UK fight, which would be brilliant. If they could bring that to the UK, it'll be a big spectacle in its own right. So, as I said, Michael Page MVP all the way for me. That is just me being biased, I must admit, but also I feel like he's got the skills to get it done, and I want to see him crack into that top 10 come UFC 303 after that. So, yep, and then we move on. We've got Mayra Bueno Silva versus Macy Chiasson, and I mean, what can I say about this? I'm just going to go with Macy Chiasson on this one. If I'm completely honest, in terms of the female divisions, I'm not. It's not my forte. It's not my apart from the big fights. Like Jay Czech back in the day, and then we've got Valentino Shevchenko and the likes of that. Not really paying too much attention to the up and comers within the female division, if I'm completely honest. But that's my personal preference there in terms of that. But we get on to the top three fights on the card, and these are very, very good fights. I believe we've got Anthony Smith against Roman. Um, a ball against Roman Dolidze, and to be fair, I think Anthony Smith, he wants to progress, and maybe he might get that opportunity against John Jones again at some point. That's if John Jones wants to fight. I feel like he's running. He should be defending that title. It doesn't really matter to me. Whether Stipe Miocic is out or whether he's waiting for Stipe, it shouldn't really be the case. If you're a champ, defend it like a champ. Because as soon as he starts losing, if even though he's got that loss on his record currently due to the DQ, if he starts losing, it's going to be the whole same thing with Conor McGregor. It's Conor McGregor-esque in that sense, in the fact of that he is taking time out, he's not being very active, and we could start to see a decline. And I don't want that. I want top tier John Jones, which most consider to be the GOAT, or at least in the conversation of the GOAT topic. And I want him to be facing in top tier form with no excuses, the likes of Tom Aspinall, Anthony Smith, those guys, Curtis Blades, whoever. He should be defending. We shouldn't be having any interim champions, because we've got Tom Aspinall having to defend an IC champ, like as an interim champ. So it's not right. And I feel like John Jones, as a little bit of a side note, needs to step up and start coming in and fighting these guys, because I don't think it's doing his legacy any good. Ain't done Conor McGregor any favours, is it? So, but anyway, with that rant over, Anthony Smith to get the job done. I know Roman's coming in to try and knock that number 10 spot, but no, Anthony Smith on this one, 100%. I feel like he's been improving. It was quite clear in his last fight, and I only hope that he gets one more go and one more shot at that title at some point. So yeah, we'll soon see what happens there. Now, co-main event, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes, number 3 versus number 14. Now, we have Diego Lopes as the favourite here at minus 142. So, and we have Brian Ortega as the underdog at plus 120. I mean, Considering their rankings, I know Diego Lopes is, similar to MVP, trying to make big movements, big jumps, got a lot of hype. I want Brian Ortega to take this, to be honest with you. I want him to hold his number 3 spot. There was a point in time where Brian, when he first came into the UFC, Brian was actually looked upon as one of, like, coming from the Gracie Academy, big things to happen. And he kind of fell short. That hype train slightly got derailed when he first came into the UFC. But now I feel like, it's his time. I want him to have that shot. And me personally, as good as Diego Lopes is, as a fan, and I just want to see people do good, and achieve their dreams, and achieve their heights. Brian Ortega for me, at least have him, try and make that run at the title, at the lightweight title. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But it will be a good fight nonetheless, and I cannot wait to see what happens. We move on now to the main event, which is Alex Pereira versus Jiří Procházka, number 2, may we add. Now, this is the main event, which is replacing, obviously, Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor. Is this a big enough main event? Is it the same caliber? Personally, I don't think so. But, I mean, especially for names anyway, name value and star power. But I must admit, though, they probably will produce a better fight than what Conor McGregor will. And I mean, as what we've seen as of late, when Conor McGregor has fought, there's always been issues, and a lot of people should say that he should retire. So in terms of quality of fight, I feel like we're going to get a really good one between these two. I want Jiří Procházka to win. It was very close anyway, and last time around. And to be fair, Alex Pereira, he's good at what he's doing, and there is a lot of hype on him as well. I mean, there was a lot of hype on him when he was fighting Israel Adesanya, being the only person to beat Adesanya through the kickboxing. And he's proven himself, But if Procházka can actually, utilize the game plan a bit more and, put it to fruition, then I can see him taking this. It's very tight in terms of the betting odds anyway. At least we got Alex Pereira at -155, and then we got Jiří Procházka at +130. So it's very tight in that regards. And I'm looking for an upset. I'm looking for the Chechen to come and do some business and knock out, or just put his game plan to fruition. Against Alex Pereira. He, as I said, good game plan last time. Worked the legs, and I think he can learn from the mistakes from his last fight against him and pull it off. And I only hope that he does. That's what we need. We need good competitiveness within the sport. Long. It makes it very lackluster when you have people like Amanda Nunes that come into the sport and just hold up the titles, and there's no competition from as such. It's a good, interesting time within this division, I think, and then within multiple divisions within the UFC. This is what we need. We need competition. We need people upskilling and just trying to get ahead of the game, and I think we're seeing it, and I'm very pleased about that. It's not very stale. It's not very stagnant. So yeah, I mean, I really want Jiří Procházka, to win, and hopefully he can do that. But yeah, all goes down tomorrow night, less than 24 hours. As I said, June 29th in the US, June 30th at 3 o'clock in the morning for the UK fans. That is when the main card will be starting, and I cannot wait for it. International Fight Week, always good, and there are some big UFC events to be coming up. So yeah, cannot wait for this one. Until next time, guys, please do like, comment, and subscribe. Give me your thoughts, and we will be back with another video very shortly, pretty much surrounding the UFC 303 pay-per-view. So stay tuned, stay blessed, take care. Bye.